which is the tippy top corner of America next to Canada. And they are co-hosts of a podcast called The Dig on Dahlias. And I listen to them on Spotify, but they're available on Apple Podcasts, I think Amazon Music, quite a few other outlets. But they are both very active in their local Dahlia Society at Whatcom. Allison is the current president, and she's a candidate judge. And her flower farm is called Kale Lane Dahlias. And I first heard of them because they were representing Steve and Sandy Bowley's Sandia Dahlia varieties when they wanted to get out of the marketing and turn that over to someone else. And Joann is the owner of Blue Sky Dahlias, and she's a board member on the society as well as a candidate judge. So, and they're both master gardeners, so their interests and knowledge really extend well beyond dahlias. So since May of 2024, their podcasts have hosted dahlia growers like the Bowleys and Rich Gibson from 20th Avenue Dahlias. And even recently, Jeff Miner was on, who wanted to talk about the upcoming National Dahlia Show in West Michigan. And that was a great podcast. If I can recommend you guys listening to that one. And I also enjoyed your trial garden speakers that you had on talking about trial gardens. But we are looking forward to hearing about how you got started and how you got started with podcasting mainly, and how you fit that into running a business, and also how you find interesting subjects and people to have on the shows that you do. So people, you can ask questions in the chat as you normally do, and Kat or Jess will monitor that, and we'll cover them at the end.
Just one more thing. If everybody could make sure they're muted. I see a lot of people unmuted. That would help.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, Tom Sopsak, you have to mute yourself. Can you do that?
I don't know. I'm gonna try.
Pat, you can actually help him if
I muted him.
Okay.
Yeah. Are we good then?
You ready?
Are we good now?
Yes. So you don't have overheads. You're just gonna chit chat.
Yeah, we don't have any overheads. We just do it real casual for our podcast.
That's fine.
This is what we're used to. Is just we definitely do more of a conversation than
a scripted.
Yeah. I'll just start at the beginning. I was a lowly flower farmer. I didn't know about the whole show world. I started buying some dahlias from Allison, and she just had lots of information. She answered all my questions. She just seemed like a really cool person that knew a lot about dahlias, and started asking me to go to the club meetings. And I started to go, and then I just kind of got hooked. And I walked in, and I think my first meetings was with Paul Bloomquist and the Bowleys and Corey Wynn, and I was just like blown away, and couldn't believe that all this information was just sitting in a little grange in a basement. Like, so I was like, how can we get this information out to other people? Like, does the world know that this exists, and how can we get it out there? So I started toying with the idea of a podcast, but I knew I didn't know enough about dahlias, and I didn't know enough dahlia people to really do anything with it. So then I started strong-arming poor Allison, my introvert here, into doing a podcast with me. She'd never heard of a podcast, didn't know what it meant, and now she pretty much runs the show. So I don't know, basically we had
we met and thought, let's have a podcast up. And I think it took probably 5 or 6 months longer to
yeah,
air our first one.
because we had to Google how to start a podcast
Yeah.
and then go through all the steps that Google told us to and figure out what worked and use our own money to set up and buy mics and start being comfortable with being on mic. And um, it just ended up being fun. And then we tapped Steve and Sandy Boley to be our first interview. We interviewed them for over 4 hours, tons of information, and then we deleted it.
Not we, I deleted it. I get the job of editing the podcasts and moved some files around and poof, 4 hours. All but 29 minutes were gone into cyberspace.
Yeah. So that's probably good. It was very rambling and we weren't very cohesive. I feel like we're getting better. You guys can let us know if we are, but I feel like we're getting better at interviewing and asking the right questions. But so that's kind of how it started, was just being blown away with all the information available in a Dahlia society. And now I don't do any of that flower farming anymore. I'm all Dahlia.
Joann came to the Wenatchee Nationals, and we were lucky, because Nationals were over here on the West Coast 2 years in a row, and it was like the gates of heaven opened,
Yeah.
and Joann's jaw was on the ground looking at all these like perfect, pristine. I think you were
Yeah.
even standing next to like the giants, so you
Yeah.
couldn't help but stare at how remarkable the flowers were.
Yeah, we opened the doors and it was just like tables of giants, and yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
mind-blowing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been hooked. So
Yeah, so what it's evolved into, we emailed a bunch of people that we knew and asked if they would be interested. And for the most part, everyone said, as long as I'm not on video, I'm willing to do an interview. And we stuck with that. And
yeah, we're just kind of going off of what other people recommend. A lot of it is like the Boleys and the Bloomquist. They say, talk to this person, talk to that person. And it's helped sort of having their name, like Steve Boley suggested that we talk to you about this or that. Otherwise, we would just go to junk mail. But
it's been a lot of cold calls trying to find people who have interesting content to share that's different from other people. Dahlia growers, like, one of my mentors, like, my favorite quotes was, you ask 3 dahlia growers how to do something and you'll get 5 different answers, right? There's so many ways to be successful at it. So finding people who can share those different nuances on how to be successful is nice. So we're not just like, saying one thing is the way to do it.
oh yeah, because I mean it's true that there's so many different ways and so many different ways that work for different people that we should just be all aware of them so people can try it out and see what works for them.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else?
Do you want to share about
Oh, sure. Our most popular interviews, the bullies, of course, because they're our mentors and we just want to pump them for information every chance we get. So we have 2 or 3 episodes of them sharing hybridizing, basically. They wanted to talk about their mentors and what they learned from their mentors. And that was really useful, like, who's a good seed parent, what's a good cross, that sort of thing. Who else? Oh, the Bloomquist. Bloomquist Jean is the one that like hooked me into Dahlias. She's just gorgeous. I love her. So then when I walked into that Dahlia meeting and it was Paul Bloomquist and Jean Haringa, who it was named after, I was fangirling a little bit. I was a little, I had to calm myself down. But it was really fun. And of course, he's just sweet as pie. And so getting to meet them and hearing about, the story of Bloomquist Jean and how it was almost thrown on the compost heap was really great. The one thing I really loved about that Bloomquist interview was we had Paul here and then we had Barb, and Barb is very soft-spoken. And Paul would go on these storytelling tangents, and Barb is next to him. You have to cut that out. You can't. She was editing our video in like while we're trying to do the interview, so that was pretty funny. She's like, nope, can't say that. So through the power of Allison and her editing, then
we made it
we made it appropriate to their liking.
So do
But
they come to your studio? Do they come to your studio? Do you have a studio?
Allison's living room is our studio
Yeah.
because we pay all out of pocket for our stuff. We're not looking for to, make money or anything. It's all just for knowledge. Like we just feel like the more people know about dahlias, the more varieties we're going to get, the more people are going to grow them, and just the more alive it will stay, and as well as the societies themselves.
Yeah.
So
For
how
the
do you do someone that's overseas, or you did Jeff Miner? I mean, he's obviously not out there. So how do you do that?
Just like you're doing us,
Yeah,
Zoom.
we've figured out how to utilize Zoom, and
Yeah.
Zoom allows you to capture audio. So we're able to edit the audio file that comes off of Zoom at the end of the call and turn it into the podcast.
She's saying we, but it's all her.
For the people who live close enough to us, we've driven
Mhm.
and then met in their kitchen or their dining room, just kept that same comfortable, we're just a bunch of Dahlia nuts sitting around talking to each other feel, and seems like that makes for a better podcast when it feels more natural versus a scripted. These are the answers that we
Yeah.
want from you.
I guess we just really feel it's important that Dahlia information is accessible to everyone, and no one is really like better than anyone or is the way to do it. It's just, yeah, a bunch of Dahlia geeks talking about what they love. And we just try to make the audience kind of part of that conversation, or just to be there with us.
Yeah, a lot. We've had the no's we get from potential guests are always this sense that they don't have anything important to
Yeah.
add to the greater Dahlia community. And even though we try and convince them that that's not how it is, we all have something to share. We've all had success growing Dahlias. And not to mention, learning other people's failures can be just as much of a learning experience as those things that have been successful for
Absolutely,
us.
because we've all failed at something,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's great to share that, and then maybe somebody else won't make that mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of our other exciting interviews that probably have the most listens was just most recently Levi Tremblay. He's kind of quieter on social media, but has this buzz of people releasing his blooms, and so that was nice to.
Yeah. He really loves the ball form, but he tends to release more of a cut flower dahlia, but they are stunning.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous. Yeah, great for design.
And his was an interesting take too, along with Beck over in Australia, because their first concern isn't show quality. However, they want to release something that pretty much is basically all of our same standards. It might just be more of a tweener bloom. And it was an interesting perspective hearing from people more on the cut flower side versus just strongly ADS side. And especially right now as we're trying to figure out how to merge both and make both jive, together at a show and in the Dahlia Society.
Yeah. That's also something we're trying to do, is just be more inclusive instead of exclusive, because flowers are for everyone and they all serve their purpose. The club people, we just tend to like the show ones and have our standards, but that doesn't mean that other people can't come and also learn about a dahlia and just use them for cut flowers.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing I did like about Beck with Serenade Dahlias down in Australia is she does hybridizing just for curiosity's sake. She just decides a goal, and it's not like we might have a goal of like how the petal lays, but hers was like getting those petaloids in between all her petals and coming up with some really crazy Mother
Funky
Nature,
blooms.
yeah, funky blooms. They work and they're cool, and people get super excited about them. And that just keeps the dahlia alive, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think some of the more fun interviews for us has been interviewing hybridizers over on your guys' side, like on
Yeah.
the Midwest and on the East Coast. We are so spoiled over here with the West Coast hybridizers. So to have an opportunity to like talk to Rich, or we were
Yeah.
just on the phone the other day with John, Crazy for Dahlias, John, and that would be another great one to hear somebody else's opinion in a totally different growing zone.
Yeah. Who also said, I'm not sure what I could say. We're like, no,
Mm,
just start
got lots
talking.
to say, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we have people on that talk about virus, beneficial insects. I know Allison at Sound Horticulture, she's a pretty popular guest, because she's not really talking about dahlias. She's just talking about controlling the pests, which every gardener deals with. So, but she's super sweet. She's local to us. She comes over to Allison's house, walk Allison's water lilies, and just shares her huge amount of knowledge on pest control. And it's great. And then it's all, the beneficial bugs.
Beneficial bugs and biological control, so you're not adding any sort of chemical to your garden, if that's the type of gardening that you like to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've also had a couple guests that have focused more on exhibition, which was fun. We have Paul Howard, not far from us, just in Vancouver, and he shared with us about, because if Paul shows up at a ADS show around here, he's probably going to take half the head
Yeah.
table by himself. And
Just walk your flowers back to the car.
so that was fun to have somebody else's take on, how to grow your blooms perfectly to exhibition. And most recently, somehow we talked Dave Gillum over in the UK, who also will take every show over there to come. And he's been sharing with us how different the Dahlia societies are over in the UK versus ours. And not just showing, they do groups of vases of 6 or less, depending on what level of shower you are in, versus our just one single perfect bloom or 3 blooms. And
Yeah. And he'll only grow like 4 or 5 varieties in a season, but like hundreds of
yeah,
them.
hundreds of each of that variety. And
Yeah. So that was really different to hear about. And then they're very casual over there, it seems, in there, like who's a judge, who's not a judge, and not like us, but they're much smaller over in the UK. I think he said their national show was like 100 people. It's like, no, that's just one of our local shows.
yeah, and he even shared that their show season was really short. He
Yeah.
had like
3 weeks, but he'll have like 3 shows in a week or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
says he basically doesn't sleep for a couple months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we've also branched a little bit away from dahlias, and we had a rose expert on and a pansy expert on, and we're just again kind of bringing together the flower community, even if it's not just dahlia centric. Those people happen to love dahlias and grow them, but it's not their main thing.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions at all?
I think there's some questions in the chat that we can ask. I just wondered how you do your podcasting, and do you sell flowers to florists as well? Do you have a business, or is it more dahlias or a hobby?
I used to. I am part of a flower co-op up here. I'm kind of just decided that I'm just going to be their cheerleader because they have enough dahlias. But I just love that there's a local flower movement, and I just have fear of missing out. So I just want to be a part of it. But I just go to meetings. I don't actually sell anything. But you sell to a couple people buckets of blooms.
Yeah, we have one lady who's a longtime family friend, and but no, I also don't really sell
Yeah.
flowers. Joann and I both have dahlia tuber businesses. That's more what the business is for both of us.
Yeah.
Lots of donating blooms, giving them to people for a
Yes.
smile.
Yes. Lots of texting the neighborhood. Come get them.
So you have more time to work. Obviously, you like this direction you're going in.
Yeah, because I was a flower farmer, I was trying to like do both, and I found that I just could not like be delivering bouquets, getting wedding arrangements ready, also picking for a show, staging, being gone a whole weekend. It just really overwhelmed me last year, and so I just chopped the whole flower business out, and I thought I was really going to regret it, but so far I'm really happy. I really like winning money at shows.
Joann made it on the head table her very first show with Irish Erin, a ball, and it was
Yeah.
it was quite a moment of excitement.
Yeah. It was all over for me, show world all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, I would much rather spend my time hybridizing blooms and going to shows. So the flower farming's just not a main interest.
Mhm. So on the Levi podcast, you said that you had been talking for over an hour, but it ended up to be like 35 minutes. So how much ends up on the cutting room floor, would you say?
Oh, that entirely depends on
Depends on the
the
guest.
guest and where the conversation goes.
sometimes they come back and say, "Oh, I named someone. I don't want that in there," or "We talked about this, and I don't feel like I'm an expert enough to talk about it, so cut that out." And that's all Allison's job with the editing. So,
We've had something go live and then it's been listened to and be like, ugh, and so there's a scramble to take the podcast down, edit out whatever 30 seconds to a minute made somebody uncomfortable, um, and then publish it again.
yeah, she does go through and get all the ums and
Try to take some of those
pauses out.
Sometimes it can be intimidating to record a podcast, so
Yeah.
so there could be awkward pauses or some stuttering that happens.
Yeah.
I think that's true on every podcast you listen to. There's a hominess about it,
Mhm.
But you specialize in dahlias on your podcast. Are there any other? Do you talk with other podcasters? I know there's tons of podcasters on gardening. I mean,
Yeah, we talked with Allie over in the UK, Small Garden Life. Um, and I have some ideas in the background of there are so many really good flower podcasts out there. I'm a podcast junkie. So I listen to them and I think I'd like to be on that. But I haven't reached out or anything.
We'd also really like to figure out how to get on YouTube.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's uncharted territory that we should get on.
Yeah. But then convincing our guests to put their face out
Yeah.
to the world is sometimes hard.
Yeah, you just wonder how easy it is to find fresh material because with so many podcasts and so much out there, how do you, make sure it's not been overdone or done before?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The because I was a podcast junkie and a flower farmer, I was listening to all of them and I would get excited when like a Dahlia episode would come up and then I would be like, well, I kind of know more than that, or that's maybe for a cut flower person, but not doesn't really translate over for show or someone worried about virus or all that other stuff that they sort of glossed over because it's cut flowers. Um, so I was the only one I did find that was like Dahlia specific was quince flowers down in Australia. But then I just started needling her, like, we should do it, we should do it. And she finally gave in. So
There's so many little details about growing dahlias with ADS or exhibition quality that you really only learn if you find a mentor who's been doing it for a while. There's so many like little gold nuggets of information. It's not written down anywhere, whether it be the generation of people who know that, are not on social media or don't blog. And so to give them an opportunity to make that information more accessible to other people has been really a delight because people will say, we have one gentleman who wants to be a guest on our podcast, and he said he'd never been to a show. He listened to the podcast and then he went for it. He staged a bloom and then he ended up winning. And it's like, exactly,
Yeah.
he didn't have access to a mentor like we do.
or even a club.
Yeah.
Like some people there's no clubs.
And they don't know where to find that information. So just trying to get it out there and make it a more comfortable thing for people to get involved in.
Yes, less intimidating, more fun.
Yeah, I don't know if your club has a mentor program. I know when we did our new membership drive last 2 years, we would assign people to a mentor if they wanted. And we not only got people enthusiastic about it, but made good connections. And like you said, it's so important to have a good mentor, and you have a wealth of them on the West Coast.
Yes, we're very lucky, and I love that idea. That is
Yeah,
such
I haven't heard
a
of
great
that.
idea because when those new members come in, it's pretty awkward. They don't really know. It's kind of intimidating. So I love that. Just pairing them up with a mentor and
Yeah,
just
Veronica is our specifically new member person, and she contacts them. We write them a letter. We get them involved and offer them that mentorship, which a lot of new members have taken us up on. And it's so wonderful to extend those connections out. And I don't know if Kat is on here. She's our secretary now, but I remember having her out to my garden, and she and her husband run a flower farm now. And when she entered the Geauga County Fair, she was like the winner. And having, not that I was a great mentor, it wasn't my doing at all, but um, the mentor program is wonderful, I think.
Yeah, agree. Let's just keep all of that information going from generation to generation to generation. And then like also like Allison has said before, like you're not having to reinvent the wheel. Like everybody's starting out at, first base. Well, if you have a mentor, you can start out on second or third base, and get to your goals a little quicker. And what's that going to do further down the line for Dahlias themselves, like in hybridizing or showing? What's that going to mean? It'll just be a little further ahead. So yeah, I love the mentor-mentee idea.
Yeah. Are there any more questions that are podcast specific?
Or any.
You'd also asked us to talk about what it's like growing in the Mecca of Dahlias. Would you
Yes,
like?
please. Yes.
Yeah. So over here in the Pacific Northwest, there are just under 15 clubs, all of part of what we call the Federation of Northwest Dahlia Growers. And so within the Federation, all of us individual clubs kind of work together. It's like a stair step. And for us, there is at least one show every weekend, if not multiple shows. A lot of times there's 2 or 3 shows. And the Federation spans about from the furthest away would be 4 hours. For us to get to the furthest south would be only a 4 hour drive, which I think might be normal for you guys to drive 4 hours to a show. Yeah. For the most part, we could drive an hour and get to a show. Our shows are usually 2 days, a Saturday and a Sunday. And so we can drive down on Saturday and then have a slow Sunday morning and then make it back down to wherever the show is for awards and picking up your blooms Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, the Federation goes from Vancouver down to Portland.
Down to
So
Portland, yeah.
the whole West Coast that way.
And
And a little bit over in the east.
Yeah, there's one in Idaho.
Mhm.
That's 14. There's 14 of us in the Federation.
So do you think your soil is that great out there?
No, we have to amend our soil.
Yeah,
Like
our soil varies greatly.
yes,
Um,
from clay to gorgeous.
My block next to me could have an entirely different growing situation than at my house. We have a ton of microclimates in Whatcom County too. Joann could freeze at her house, and which is 10 minutes away, and my house could be totally fine and have no frost whatsoever. And
I think it's really the cloud coverage that's the key.
Yeah.
We pretty much always have clouds.
we don't really get hotter than 80.
It's unusual.
Unless there's a weird freak heat wave, which we're expecting to happen this year because winter hasn't shown up.
Yeah. But then Paul Howard is out there attaching umbrellas to his dahlias to keep them from burning. So
Yeah. And we really just don't get that cold. To have any snow is special. And that, so to even be below freezing is fairly rare. I think we're just really lucky with the weather not being so extreme.
yeah.
I think we share that here. We have, they say Cleveland, this area has less than 100 days of sunshine a year. So we have a lot of cloudy days as well. And, but it doesn't, we still have gorgeous blooms. So we get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, we plant about mid-May and then we're digging mid-October, end of October, and it's a pretty decent long season.
Yeah, I'm usually over it. When October comes, I'm like, chop them down, and just get to the end of, especially because we're starting them. My daughter's bedroom right now, she's away at college and it's just racks and grow lights right now. I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but I've started them all early. So usually by the time October, I'm ready for a break.
Yeah. A lot of people really can get away with leaving their dahlias in the ground.
Yeah.
A lot of us still dig them up to keep them safe, but for the most part, you're probably gonna have good luck leaving them in the ground.
A lot of people out on the islands, out in the San Juan, can leave them in because it's milder with the water right there and sandy soil.
Yeah. Our more major pests, I would say, is thrips, aphids, and then we have a soil pest called wireworms. the cucumber beetles haven't made it up to us yet. Japanese beetles aren't over here yet.
Do you guys have those Japanese beetles? Oh, I'm
Yes,
so
yes,
sorry.
they come out every summer, some worse than others, just depending on your yard. You can do grub control in your yard and help with the Japanese beetles the following year. But
Oh, so you have to like prep a whole year ahead.
well, you should do a lawn treatment to keep the Japanese beetles down. Yeah, but we do have plenty of them, and we have cucumber beetles, and we have leaf hoppers and aphids, and yeah, we have our share.
Sure, sure. The Japanese beetles just look awful.
Yeah.
I just feel so
Seeing
sorry.
people like put the organza bags over their blooms to
Oh,
keep their blooms
yeah.
nice. Like, oh, what a hassle to have to.
Yeah. You really love dahlias if you're out doing that.
Yeah, so that's really all we have prepared for you. If you have any questions, we're happy to try and answer them.
Yeah, people, you could just unmute yourself and speak up if you have a question. I see there was Bob Leonelli was wondering what the story was on the Winds Dahlia. Was it was or the Mr. and Mrs. That does Winds.
Yes.
They were
Or
one of your first podcasts, were they not?
yes.
Kind of got you started.
Are you
Is there a specific question about the winds you're?
or just
Actually, I think Bob asked about Bloomquist. He wanted to know what's the Bloomquist story.
Oh, Bloomquist. I'm sorry. I thought it was
oh
Winds. Mhm.
with Jean? With the Bloomquist Jean?
I
Bob,
would guess yes.
Yes, okay. Well, you know this one.
I get to take this one. So Paul had Bloomquist Jean. I should just refer you to listen to the podcast for the actual
Oh, just
facts
tell
here.
him.
And I want to say he brought it to the 1 to 10 bench. And I don't know if you guys have a 1 to 10 bench. Our 1 to 10 bench is this kind of soft introduction for hybridizers with blooms that are first year, second year seedlings. So at a show, you can bring your dahlia, put it on the 1 to 10. And if it gets a 4 or higher, it's the senior judge's way of saying, keep that bloom. It's likely to compete in the future. And so Paul brings Bloomquist Jean. I think he said it got a 2.
Yeah, it like scored really low.
Which means like maybe going to get a red ribbon, which
Yeah, but it'll
you
never
don't want a
go
red
up.
ribbon over here.
Yeah.
But then Jean Herringa, she's the hybridizer of the Vista varieties, saw it and told Paul that he better keep it around. And so he did. And now it's turned into both exhibition growers and cut flower
Yeah.
growers' favorite flower.
Yeah. So all because Jean Haringa said keep that.
Keep it, yeah.
Yeah. And now she's like,
Pretty much when Jean has something to say, you listen around here.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah, you guys are fortunate that you've got. We really envy the breadth of your experience and knowledge out there that you have to draw from. Are you going to
Right.
continue your podcasting? What's your future?
Oh yeah, we got a whole bunch like in the tank, as they say, or in the reel, I'm not sure.
in the queue,
In
yeah.
the queue, that we're trying to stock up a little bit because we have to also plant our dahlias. So trying to do interviews and get our own business done is hard. So we try to get a bunch done in the early spring and then kind of leak them out, week by week, so we can get our chores done. But yeah, we're toying with the idea of going onto YouTube. I don't know if that'll happen. Seems a little scary. I feel like we can barely do the technology for the podcast. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we've looked into media managers and the cost is
What would be fun is to get some remote reporters, like get people in different parts of the country that report for you.
Oh yeah.
And because you can't be everywhere. And
Right.
this way you could have somebody at the national show reporting on the, what's going on, little personality things at the national show. It would be fun.
Right. And this week, our interview is brought to you by
Yeah.
so and so. Yeah, that would be fun. Except I want to do all the things. I want to go to nationals. But yeah, that is a really good idea. Have somebody else help.
Does anybody in your guys' society have suggestions on who we should interview?
Yes.
Well, you've already done virus. Ron Miner is so articulate and knowledgeable about and passionate about virus. And you see a lot of questions out there on the forums about virus. And I don't know, maybe it would be too boring to kind of get down to that nitty gritty, but I think it's something we all want to know more about.
Yeah.
I would say it would not be boring. And I tried to get Ron for you guys a year ago. And after you interviewed Jeff the other day, I kind of think Ron revisited. And if Ron's on here, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, these two ladies are super nice, like I told you. So
We really want to interview you.
we're still trying. Jeff and I are trying.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Jeff said he would try for us. So
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
Ron on there.
And I feel like if somebody doesn't want to hear any more about virus, they don't have to listen to that episode. But people that really want to get in the weeds, they would find that valuable.
We did have 2 virus back-to-back uploaded just because that's the way it happened. And we had a message from someone overwhelmed. What am I supposed to do as a small grower? It's like, I think we're all trying to figure that out together.
Yeah.
What we're supposed to do as dahlia growers.
Just do your best.
Yeah.
He's not a member of our society, but I would highly recommend, and you might get Ron to be more agreeable, if you could get Ron and Harry Rosetto together.
Oh,
Harry's,
Yeah, we
name.
need
We've
to-
Harry
heard
and Ron are a long
Yeah.
time. I think they're 2 of the 4 honorary ADS members. Those 2 together would be awesome.
Awesome. Okay. We'll work
Yeah,
on
and I
that.
like the idea of 2 people because you get that back and forth going. That would be fun to listen to.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I have to say that I am here.
Oh,
And
uh-oh.
I
We've
guess
been outed.
I would consider doing it, I guess.
Yay!
Thanks, Ron.
Yes, thank you, Jeff.
I'll let go of his
We'll-
arm and shoulder now.
That's right. We'll be reaching out to you.
It looks like someone in the chat said Little Lindock. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with who that is.
Oh, little Lindock, is that a grower? It's in the chat. I didn't know if you guys.
We'll have to look them up.
Are we still there?
Pat, you are on mute. I can see that you're talking, but
Sorry. Have you done an episode with Little Lindock?
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure
I
I
don't
know
know
who
who
that
that
is.
So no, because we don't know who they are. But
The Genome Project. Yeah.
oh, Genome Project, yes, awesome.
Yeah, that would be a good subject, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Australia. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for the suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, good. Well, it was enjoyable having you. I think some of us probably aren't that into podcasts, and
That's okay.
I think it gives you another outlet to kind of, not everybody can sit and watch YouTube all day long, but when you're driving in the car, it's kind of fun to pull up Apple Music or Spotify and listen to a podcast. So,
Mhm.
Yeah. Or when you're dividing tubers or counting seeds or yeah.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for inviting us.
yes, thanks to Jessica for asking you. And I think that I really appreciated your time.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. See ya. Have a good night.
Bye. Bye.